Am I the a-hole for not wanting to give my last goodbye to my sister, female 29? I, male 28, left home at the age of 18 because my sister, female 29, 19 at the time, accused me of hitting her in order to cover her abusive boyfriend. Since she was the lovely baby of my dad, he of course believed her and told me to leave the house or he would make sure I will spend half of my life in jail. In that moment, I didn't want problems, and the shock of the moment made me want to leave as soon as possible. My mom said she didn't believe me either, but she gave me some money to live for a few months, which gave me time to get a job and rebuild my life. I know it wasn't easy. I planned to end my life with my sisters as a revenge, but finally I found some peace in my life. I finished a degree in a public university, got a job, and I'm now married to a woman who supported me in my darkest moments. Then last week, my mom contacted my wife via Facebook, the most popular social media in my country, to talk with me. I figured since she helped me, I owe her a favor, so I decided to talk with her. She told me that my sister is dying, that she got cancer in terminal stage, and that there is nothing more the doctors can do now, and all she wants is to apologize and to make things right before she passed away. I of course told my mom my sister could go directly to hell. I owe my sister nothing, not even peace in her last moments. I practically said everything I wanted to say to her in that moment a decade ago. When I finally vented all what I wanted to say, my mom just said that at least I should do it for her. My mom, she practically begged it. I talked to my wife about it and she told me, you don't owe anything to your parents. They failed you. So did your sister. I would let her die with her mistakes unsolved, but that's me. I will support you in any choice you make. I agree with her, but a part of me wants to see her, but I don't know if I could control myself if I do see her. I asked my best friends, and they both said I should go and give her peace. So now I don't know if I'm doing wrong or I should set aside my anger just for now, at least until she passes away. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Has your sister admitted she lied to your family? Has she apologized? Has your mom or dad? If not, let them rot. You owe them absolutely nothing. Exactly this. The sister had years to apologize, and it's only now when she's afraid of smoking a turd in hell for all eternity that she's looking for absolution. This stunt is entirely for her benefit, not OP's. Yeah, it's impossible to make things right by just saying sorry. She destroyed his family life and let it continue that way for 10 years. He was thrown out in the streets with no support, so she could cover for her scum boyfriend and felt nothing. It's only now when potential consequences of her actions are looming, a one-way ticket to the fiery pits of hell, that she decides it's time to apologize. Not for his sake, but to clear her own guilt. I'd say let it fester in her heart, knowing that Opie gives absolutely zero crap about her and her dying wish, or the family as a whole. That he's found something better and wants nothing to do with them. Hopefully it's a painful time she has left. Not the a-hole. Not everyone deserves peace upon death in my opinion. No one is owed absolution on their deathbed. Only visit her if it will benefit you. As I said above, she's not owed peace, simply because she's dying. Her own actions cost her unrest. You only need to focus on what is best for you. I would visit her with family and her friends, just to question her on her deathbed if she has any remorse of what she did, and why it took her dying to finally come forward. Make her answer all uncomfortable questions in front of everyone, and then tell her that I will not forgive her and I don't care if she dies. Then I'll tell the parents never to contact me again, that I don't forgive them either for how they treated me, and leave. Agreed. Plus, she's still making it all about her and what she wants. I don't care what she wants. She's trash. And karma came for her in the end. You don't owe her anything, Opie. You are owed, by her and by your parents. And your mom gets extra trash points by trying to manipulate you, as if she did some grand thing for you. Tell her she and your father can rot in hell with their golden child, but none of them are family to you. Next story. Am I the a-hole for charging my son rent? Need some advice here. My 17-year-old son has really taken off with his live streaming career in the past 6 months. He's doing so well that he's been able to upgrade his room into a pretty awesome streaming studio. We're talking multiple monitors, TVs, top-of-the-line streaming gear, the works. He's pulling in around $3,000 a month, which is really impressive for his age. I originally thought he was just blowing his allowance and lying to me, but I have seen his bank account and it checks out. He didn't actually tell me that he was making money until I pressed him, which was weird, but he came clean and showed me his Kicks and Twitch profiles. Given his new financial situation, I thought it might be a good idea for him to start paying a small amount of rent, like $600 a month. Something comparable to what a 2-bedroom should go for, given he has 500 square feet for his room, an ensuite, and a lounge for sole use. I see it as a way to teach him about the responsibilities of adulthood and managing finances. However, my wife isn't on board. She thinks we shouldn't ask for rent, period, and that it's our job to give him a roof regardless of external circumstances. Plus, he utilizes our Wi-Fi and electricity to stream. I suggested that we put away his rent money for his future, but still no bueno. Now, he finished high school early and has been streaming over his gap year before he decides if he wants to go to college. This has led to some pretty heated discussions between us, with my wife accusing me of being too harsh, not appreciating our son's youth. On my end, I feel like I'm just being realistic and preparing him for the real world. I had to pay rent as soon as I made an adult wage when I was growing up. I'm conflicted because I want to help him learn about real-world responsibilities, but I also get he's not technically an adult yet. So, am I the a-hole for wanting my son to contribute a bit to the household now that he's earning his own money? Are you claiming him as a dependent? If you charge him, better take that off your taxes, bud. Very good point. Wonder if he realizes he'd need to remove him as a dependent and add rent as income. I'd like to know where you can rent a 2-bedroom apartment for $600. Right? Where I live, studios are $1,800 to $2,300. Studios. You're the a-hole. It comes across as you wanting a piece of the pie. If he were over 18, okay, but he's not. If Lil Bro was flipping burgers at McDonald's, would you be charging him? Also, since you are planning on charging him rent, I assume you'll be filing that in your taxes. He didn't actually tell me that he was making money until I pressed him, which was weird, but he came clean and showed me his Kick and Twitch profiles. That sentence is really telling. Kid probably knew Dad would get greedy if he told him how much he was making. If OP really wanted to teach his kid about money, he'd sit him down and talk to him about investing, long-term financial goals, taxes, etc. Charging rent doesn't teach him anything, but that his dad will go begging for money if he makes bank. Kid hid it for a reason. Lol. He knew. You're the a-hole. You're going to charge your minor and dependent son, who has a great job, rent? And you're only charging him because he's making money? That's ridiculous and selfish. My mother did this to me, except I was not pulling $3,000 a month at all. She also treated me like a daughter and not like a tenant. If she had a real tenant, she would have received a ton of complaints and had to actually maintain the house. Yep, of course she claimed me on her taxes. Nope, she didn't need the money. She wanted the money, and to play landlord. I didn't realize how messed up that was until the first post I saw on AITA, where the commenters were roasting the parent for being so selfish. Every once in a while, there's another post like this and the comments heal me a little bit more every time. I finally cut off my mother at the beginning of this month at 30 years old for a ton of stuff. And stuff like this reminds me why. Thanks for being a voice of reason for those of us who don't know what parental love looks like. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my daughter to find another place to live because she's pregnant again? My 49 female daughter Josie, 19, had her first baby when she was 15. My husband and I were devastated at first, because we knew this was going to be a very difficult path for our daughter. We did all we could to give her sex ed, but it wasn't enough and we couldn't turn back time. So all we could do was support her in what she wanted to do. My husband and I helped Josie take care of our grandson and encouraged her to finish high school. She never did because she said her priority was being a mother and she didn't have time to invest into finishing high school. We told her she would either go to school or get a job, but we weren't going to give her the option of doing neither for more than a year after she gave birth. So she got a part-time job at a hair salon. The father of my grandson, who was her age, would give her about $100 a month for baby-related stuff and would come over every couple of months to see his son. But that was all he did, although he lived in the same city as his son. A few days ago, Josie broke the news to us that she's pregnant again. The father is the same boy who got her pregnant the first time. My husband and I were mad. How can she get pregnant by that boy for the second time, when he was very obviously not consistent or helpful with her first baby? And with Josie living with us rent-free, and us having to take care of my grandson for her so she can work, go out, etc., this does not seem fair at all that she can add another baby into this mess. After a few days of thinking about it and discussing it with my husband, we decided to tell Josie to move in with the father of her children and raise the children together. She said they are not in a relationship, so they can't live together, and they wouldn't be able to afford it anyway. I told her she needs to figure something out, because we, my husband and I, are not willing to raise another baby for her. She said, "You're never satisfied with anything I do. You told me to get a job, so I did. And now you're complaining that you had to raise the baby? You wouldn't have had to if I didn't have to work. I can't do both things at once, and I definitely can't raise 2 kids on my own at work. What 19-year-old can do that?" I replied, "We tried to teach you how to be responsible after your first baby, and we did all we could to be there for you. You clearly haven't learned a thing. It is not our job to keep picking up after you. So, before your baby arrives, discuss living arrangements with the father and figure something out. She has been crying and not talking to us since. She's called both sets of her grandparents to speak to my husband and I and change our minds so we can help her raise her babies. My husband's parents think we're being very harsh and punishing her for something that's already happened, which isn't helpful. They offered to take Josie and our grandson in, but Josie doesn't want to take her kids so far away from their dad. My in-laws are saying we'll regret abandoning our daughter and that we should be showing her a better example of unconditional love. I just don't know what more we could do without sacrificing our own lives. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole, and stand firm, or you'll never be able to retire because she will continue to expect your largesse. Not the a-hole. This might be terrible, but is abortion an option? She clearly cannot afford a second child. But why is it the father paying more support? He's a broke college kid. He has a job, but he has to pay his own rent and everything he needs, so I don't think he has much money to spare. The main issue to me is him not seeing his son more often, when his university is only 25 to 30 minutes drive away. It's very clear he'd rather be anywhere else than with his son, yet he can impregnate my daughter again? Fills me with rage. Know what the courts told my brother when he cried to them that he didn't have the money to pay all the expenses expected of him? You'll find a way. Your child comes first and then yourself. No one is holding these two accountable to the level they should be. Seeing his kid once every 2 months and paying $100? He could 1,000,000,000% could do more. Put your foot down, OP. You didn't create these kids. Let your daughter go cry to the government for assistance. It'll be a blessing. They'll make both of them shape up. My sister-in-law did this to her mom, lived with her rent-free, baby daddy in and out of trouble with the law. Sister-in-law had 3 kids she couldn't take care of on her own, even with baby daddy's help. We kept telling his mom to set boundaries and rules, to no avail. Fast forward a few years later, mother-in-law is dying of cancer and asks her son, my husband, to take care of her sister. Yeah, big fat no. They had years to get a full-time job. She had free childcare. Her mother would watch the kids. Still didn't get a job. But she leached off of her mother so much she died totally broke, and the other siblings took care of her in her final weeks. And the leech of a daughter didn't do a damn thing to help in any way, shape, or form. OP needs to be willing to die on this hill if she really wants her daughter to be able to take care of herself. Not the a-hole. Her grandparents can either foot the bill for her to elsewhere, or let them move in with one set. Your daughter is 19. She fooled around and found out. Twice. Not twice. She fooled around twice but only found out once. Had she found out the first time around, there would not have been a second time. Last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my grandpa my dad stole my wedding money? I, 27, female, I'm getting married in 2 months. From the beginning, we were wanting to elope, but then we decided that we wanted a more traditional but still low-budget wedding, as low as you can get with the prices these days, because we didn't want to regret not doing it. We spoke with our parents about a budget maybe like 8 months ago, and both sides promised to give $10,000 each, and we would cover whatever was left and the honeymoon. We were very, very grateful for that. My mother-in-law has already paid her $10,000 up front, which helped with all the down payments and venue cost. My side was supposed to pay their $10,000 3 weeks before the wedding to cover food/drinks/any final expenses. Long story short, my father, who has a history of narcissistic behavior, decided last minute that he was not going to do that anymore. We are now 2 months out from our wedding, and he's no longer willing to pay anything. We have no savings to cover the cost. We have already paid out our parts as well. We cannot cancel due to our contract, and we'd rather not take a loan out. I tried reaching out to my grandpa to ask for assistance, and he told me that he already gave me over $1,000 for the wedding. I found out my dad pocketed that money. Am I an a-hole if I tell my grandpa that he stole the money? I'm afraid of causing drama and being in a worse situation. Edit, my dad said he took the money to soften the blow of helping me with the wedding, aka to help pay himself back. In his eyes, he did nothing wrong, and I'm feeling sorry for myself. Just to clear up a few things, I know $20,000 is a lot. Believe me, we paid $15,000 ourselves. We told our family from the start we wanted a small wedding/elopement, but they said we would regret it. So we decided we should go more traditional. Keep in mind, I live in a very popular city for weddings, and this is a fair price and still under the average. Also, my father is not required to pay for my wedding, but he offered since he got a huge check to his practice. If we didn't have family offering, we would have just eloped. We didn't care either way. No, you're not. But why didn't your grandfather just give it to you? Is he aware of your father's behavior? Does he have a history of doing stuff like this? My dad has a long history of this. I guess my dad called my grandpa and said, "My daughter wants help with her wedding. Can you help?" And he agreed, and my dad gave him his routing info. Then I would absolutely tell your grandpa. Tell him your dad promised you the money, and you had no idea that he even asked you for some, and now he's refusing. I would also be disappointing my father if he tried to pull this stunt. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Let your dad face consequences if he stole from you. Yeah, geez. Your grandpa needs to know this, so he can avoid giving your dad money in the future, if nothing else. And who else did dad get money from? This is a great point. I would bet money he mooched money from other relatives, saying it was for the wedding and then stole that too. I really hope OP told her grandpa. Sometimes drama needs to happen. Bad people doing bad things don't stop unless people know about it. So those people can't take advantage of anyone else. I'm also assuming her mom isn't alive/around anymore since OP didn't have her berate her dad. My mom has been abused by my dad for years and refuses to get involved because she's scared of getting yelled at. She's a shell of a human after 30 years of marriage.